Hi everybody. It's okay, you're seeing a red screen right now. You should be. I went shopping for my worms. Now I didn't go shopping at the store. I went shopping in my backyard. Since we're going to be getting snow soon, I'm trying to scavenge what I can while I can. So let me show you some of what I got them. First we see this wonderful bag of it's chopped up maple leaves with a little bit of grass. The last time I mowed my grass, I bagged it up and put it in my garden, and this is slightly, ever so slightly damp, but the worms are going to love it. In here, well, it's a bunch of really dry, brittle, tall grass. Another thing that they're going to love. In here, I don't know who's familiar with comfrey. If you're not, you should be. It's an herb native to Britain, and it is what's known as a super accumulator. It's a super accumulator, and it's used as a chop and drop nitrogen fertilizer. The leaves are all drying up now, and that's perfect because I want some dry bedding. Yeah, if you don't know about it, please look it up. COMFREY. There's tons of information on why you should be growing it and why you should be using it. And then over here, I just developed a Maine accent all of a sudden. Okay, I got a couple little pieces of this very spongy wood. This is from a tree stump of mine that's rotting. And in here, let's see, this is part of the stalk from last year's sunflower plant. Not this year's, last year's. This is long, but I'm going to stick it inside the urban worm bag, and I think they're going to have a little playground. And then in here, there is more. The green you see is comfrey leaves. You can see there's a bunch more pea pods. There's a cat. There's a dog. There's a cat and a dog. I don't think they're going in the worm bin. Here's some more of the really squishy, falling apart wood. I think the Indian blues are going to go crazy for this. And then last but not least, we have a bucket of bean pods and the dried tendrils that were holding them up. These have the beans in them still. So, okay, so that is the mess on my floor. I plan to get one of my really big Rubbermaid tubs, I don't know, Sterlite, whatever brand it is, and do a big bedding mix. Chop up what's needed, do a bedding mix, and be good for the winter. So, the reason I am showing you that, Gizmo, can you move over here, girl? Come here. Is I want to check in on the Euros, and I know that they need food. And what I prepared for them is this wet, gooey mix. And what this, oh, I almost spilled it. What this is, it is 2 apples that had been frozen, and it's an entire bag of those little mini petite potatoes, the little baby potatoes, I don't know what you call them. And they were also frozen. Gizmo, get out of the worms. And then there's a couple of eggshells that I threw in there. They didn't grind up in the blender as small as I like my eggshells, but they'll be okay. But as you can imagine, this is super wet and super goopy, so I want to be able to plop it on something dry. And now I have a lot to choose from. So first, let's just peek in. I have the 2 bins side by side here. And we're not going to do a real thorough check because I just really want to feed them. It looks like I stored some stuff. So this is the cornmeal I've been talking about when I said in my baby blue worm bin, the bait I used, I said I dusted the roots with some cornmeal. It's this. Palmetto Farms, all natural, gluten-free, non-GMO, stone ground cornmeal, and this is really inexpensive. It's a cloth bag. The bag is decent, and of course it has its own Amazon barcode right on it, Amazon. And a hush puppy recipe, if you happen to like hush puppies. But I don't even know what that is. And then this, I didn't even know this was on top of there. These are some yucca pods. And this is a little baby kefir lime or kaffir lime, however you say it. Let me stand up for a minute. I have a kaffir lime tree, and as you can see, it is covered with limes, and they're in really large clusters all over it, but some of them fall off, and I'm going to just experiment and give a couple to the worms, because the tree, well, I can't turn it. I have a lot of citrus trees in a row here. I can't turn it to show you all of the limes, but trust me, they are all the way around the tree in big clusters. So the stems that they grow on can't support the weight of them all, so some inevitably fall off. And I'm going to throw one in the one with the worms and see what they do. I mean, it is citrus, but it's a little tiny. It's a little tiny. Look at how cute this is. You can tell on by the skin that it's a kaffir lime or kefir, that kind of lime that I'm talking about. All right, so let's look at the euros. Okay, I don't see anything amazing on their cover. I see worms. I see remnants of their last feeding. Oh, this is the pumpkin, one of the white pumpkins that my daughter painted for Halloween. I can tell because it has the green paint still. And I had looked it up, and it was a non-toxic water-based paint, so I knew it was okay to put in here. Here is the very thin shells only that are left of the 500-year-old caveman beans that you'll see in my last feeding video. They ate it down to the skins. And let's see what else is in here. Oh, there's more, a little more of the pumpkin. This is mostly the seeds, it looks like here. A little bit of flesh, so maybe they don't need as much food as I thought. Sometimes I don't remember how much I fed prior feeding, and I get overly, whatever the word is. I prepare too much food, whatever that word is. Looks like this is, what the heck is this? This is, well, oh, this is a beet. It's not red anymore, but that's what this is. And it doesn't look like they ate it. I don't know if they don't like beets. I've never fed beets before. I mean, it was pre-frozen and all, but maybe it's just not something that they're thrilled about. Or again, maybe it's simply that I put way too much food in here for the number of worms that I have. Let's flip them over and just take a look at the worms themselves. So the worms look good. They look fat and healthy. The material is damp but not soaked. Of course, the food that's left in here is all wet food. So I don't think actually I'm going to feed this bin anything. You can see here, there's one of the beans that was in the pod. All right, so there's nothing overly amazing in here. The worms look really good, but hey, I'm trying to show you, and you don't want to cooperate. Yep, the worms look good. They're doing what they do. Here's a little yucca pod. This should be crushed. So they have they definitely have plenty of food left between the beet and a piece of pumpkin. There's a little guy. I don't think I need to give this particular bin anything. And it doesn't even need any moisture, because in the bottom where all the castings are being created, this is nice and damp. Really good moisture down here. So we just give them a fluff, a tumble in the dryer here. This one is not breeding ready. They seem to be enjoying all the browns I added, the different types. This one is breeding ready. You know, the bean pods and the yucca pods, and there's some grass, and there's maple leaves. Lots of carbon that isn't cardboard. And I mean, there is cardboard too. You can see it, but I like to use as much from nature as I can, which is why I went backyard shopping yesterday. Yep, so these guys look really healthy. Hey, turn over you. Color is really nice. There's no odor. It isn't too wet. It isn't too dry. I don't see any indication of any mites or anything else. Yeah, here's, well, it's either the same or a different piece of the beet. It may be something that they don't like. Leave comments below if you have fed whole beets to your European nightcrawlers, because I have learned absolutely that different worms dislike certain foods. Not saying certain foods are bad for them, but there are some foods that certain species of worms do not like, and especially the African nightcrawlers. They're really fussy. When they eat, but they have things that they don't like. So I've come to learn that. And maybe these guys don't like beets. I don't know. Well, I'm going to leave it in there. I mean, they have plenty of bedding and carbon to eat if they really dislike that. If it's here the next time I check on them, I'll take it out. There's another little piece of the pumpkin, this is really just the skin. So maybe now that they got through the pumpkin, maybe they'll start working on the beets. They ate the beans, and they ate their pumpkin. And I believe there was a cucumber in here too. Pretty sure. Okay, let's take a look at the second bin. Since I don't need to add any of the wet food that I just prepared, I don't need to put in any bedding. Okay, this is really wet on top of this paper, and I don't like that. So, I mean, it's clearly just condensation, but yeah, it looks okay. Well, no, this looks okay. I guess it's just the condensation between the bubble wrap and the Amazon bubble mailer. Let's dig in and take a look at these Euros. So they were given the same exact food. I do remember that. And this little guy's in a hurry to go somewhere, but I don't know where. No, he's not a little guy. He's a big guy. He's a big boy now. I could see all the line down in his digestinal tract. Is that the word? Digestin tract. So yeah, here's their beet. Although there's worm in it. So that's a good sign. Maybe they just didn't get to it yet. I mean, it is a starch, and it is kind of hard. That's why the potatoes, I blend it up, because I know potatoes take them forever to eat. So I decided to make it a little bit easier this time. So maybe that's it. Maybe it's just, maybe I need to add some of this goop in there to give them a fast food as well as their slow food. They did have pumpkin, and I'm not seeing it. This bin is actually a little bit dry. Now, I saw that condensation on the top, but I think what I need to do is remove this bubble mailer from between the bubble wrap and the top of the bin, because it's trapping the moisture onto the paper, but it's not trapping it in the bin. And I put that brown mailer on there just to keep these guys, give them a little bit of darkness, because where they're living for the winter, they're in the full light. But maybe I'll just reverse it. I'll put that on top of the bubble wrap. Problem solved. So they look really good. They're doing what they should be doing. They definitely have less food left. I don't see any pumpkin. I don't see any cucumber. Now here's another beet. No, this is the same one because it has a worm in it. So I'm going to put you know what I'll do? I think I'm going to take these out, and I think I'm going to blend them. And these guys have been down deep, so they're a little bit lighter. When they stay down deep, they get a little bit lighter. When they're at the top, they get a little bit darker. It's pretty cool. Look at the castings they're making. Really beautiful stuff here. But yeah, down the bottom, it's definitely a little bit dry. So they'll benefit from some of this wet food. I'll add their beet to it, blend it some more, and looks like this here, this is the sunchoke that I added. And again, that's a starch, and this was really hard, and it doesn't look like they've eaten that either. Oh, here's a piece of their pumpkin. Okay, there's not much left of their pumpkin. Actually, this sunchoke is kind of smelly. Worms like smelly food. That means it's decaying, and that means yummy worm food. All right, well, I guess there's nothing amazing going on here. They ate all the greens off the stem. I don't remember what it was, but I remember it being covered with greens, and this as well. I can take that out now. So yeah, they're doing their thing. Okay, really, was that necessary? Yes, it was necessary. I didn't want you to pick me up right now. It looks to be a good one. Yep. All right, well, I'm going to add a little bit of the wet food into here, because they need something other than the beets and the sunchokes, the slow food. So even though the ground mixture is mostly potatoes, which is also a starch, it's already liquefied, so that'll be an easy meal for them. I don't see any signs of trouble or any indication that they're unhappy. I don't think beets are their favorite food. I think they would eat it in time. They're going to eat it, but not their favorite. Be interesting when I check in on the African nightcrawlers, because they got a bunch of beets, and I'll see if if they ate theirs. Alright guys, well, that's about it. There's nothing spectacular going on here. I'm going to add a little bit of the wet food mixture to this. I'm going to put those beets in a blender. I know they would break them down eventually, but you know, I'm striving to get castings from these guys, and the longer it takes them to eat their food, the longer it takes them to poop it out. So I might as well make it easier for them to do their job. And it's been in here long enough, and it was pre-frozen, so if it was something they were thrilled about, they would have already been going crazy on it. So I'm just going to make it a little bit more appealing. And that's it. Leave any comments, thoughts, feelings, anything else. Thumbs up, please, and please share my channel. I appreciate it. Thank you for viewing, and have a wonderful day.